Hello, I'm Melita Jonie Maschek, a historian from Ruskin, Florida. I really am from Seattle, but I call this my home. Dr. Harris was born in 1888. He was born in Georgia. He got his medical schooling at what is now Emory University. But at that time, it was called Southern College. Would you believe he paid only $5 a year for his tuition? That is all he paid. He came to Florida as a young man and settled in Bradenton. And he befriended many persons whom one person wanted him to go to Wimauma, so they boarded the train and they came down to Wimauma on the train. But as they were getting off the train, he saw a poor soul who was very ill. Being a doctor, but hadn't practiced yet, he started taking care of this poor soul. And from there, he loved this area, and he decided to stay here and become the doctor in this area. He at first had no office, and he married Colding many years after he got here, but he had a clapboard house on 674, and they lived in the back and had his room in the front for his patients. The only means of transportation was a horse, and he being an outdoorsman as he was, he always took all of his hunting dogs every time he had to go to a patient. And if he had a chance, he'd hunt on the way back. He loved to fish, he loved to hunt, and then after his marriage, his wife became the receptionist. Only one time did she send a bill. And he got such a tongue lashing from the person who received the bill that he never, ever sent another bill to any patient, nor did he ever keep books on whom people that were his patients. He had no records whatsoever. He really charged $35 to deliver babies. Sometimes they pay him nothing, and then the next year they were having their second baby, and they give him $5. That was for 2 babies. But he just kept plundering along, and finally he went to one house that had triplets. But the 3 babies died, and Doc Harris had on a white satin shirt. He ripped the shirt off of his back, and they made 3 little white satin dresses for the babies to bury them in. He was a man of integrity, a man loved by everyone. When he got a Model T Ford, it wasn't much better than his horse because he traveled in such areas. There were no roads, and he'd bog down, and he'd get stuck, and everybody would join and push him on his way. So he always said that Model T wasn't much better because that horse could really go over terrains and get him there. But he did settle for the Model T. He then opened another office in Ruskin. He had 2. He would be at one day and one at the other. And the 3 girls he had. One of them was named Joyce, Joe, and Johnny June. Johnny June was the oldest, and then Joyce, and then Joe. Now there were only one daughter that followed the medical trade, and that was Jo Harrell. She was an RN at St. Joe's Hospital in Tampa for 7 years. 7 years only is all she worked. But he is a person that everyone that I've interviewed through history, I've asked them, who delivered you? Doc Harris. Oh, Doc Harris. Doc Harris. So he seemed to deliver a multitude of babies, but got little pay. Some people paid him the $35, but not often did he get any pay at all. But he got to the position where he could take the family on trips, and they'd spend a month at a time at some place fishing and hunting. And through the years, he prospered enough that he didn't die a pauper. He owned much land, and only through the goodness of his heart that I think he became famous, because everyone loved him. Doc Harris would give money to the Wimauma school. He would support their band. He had 3 girls there, and each one of them played an instrument, all 3. And he would be very generous to any function or anything that happened in the area. The children would entertain the patients as he was in the back or operating on one or something. I know June used to play the piano for him.
It was up front in the waiting room.
Right. And it was an unusual story of how he got here, how he worked with the people, how he became so famous. Everyone, I did not, in all of my years of interviewing people, find anyone that could say nothing but good things about Doc Harris. He ended up owning 640 acres on Lake Carlton when he passed away, and he divided it between his 3 daughters. So he was a county commissioner, loved by everyone, had the knowledge to make decisions which everyone approved of. And to me, it was one of the most interesting stories I've ever written.